high quality and potent forms of oregano oil on the market, sourced from top leading manufacturers to ensure a concentrated level of bioactive ingredients, extracted directly from the wild herb and sealed in easy-to-use capsules. You will no longer need to endure the burning of liquid oregano on the tongue. Wild crafted from the Mediterranean oregano species that experts agree is one of the most powerful and most challenging to acquire. This winter season, it's more important than ever to secure this true form of oil of oregano. Now available in our limited first run at InfoWarsLife.com. That's InfoWarsLife.com or call 888-253-3139.
Another major health threat, this one in Toledo, Ohio, where everybody in the entire city has been told not to drink the water.
Ohio's governor declaring a state of emergency.
Did you know that the average person uses about 80 to 100 gallons of water at home every single day? If there's a water emergency, will you be prepared?
Panicked residents forming long lines throughout the day.
We're here at a supermarket in Toledo. You can see the shelves empty where water once was.
To stay safe and healthy during a crisis, you must have access to safe, clean water. Water which will not be available at your local grocery store.
There's a mad dash on right now to stock up on supplies.
The ProPure Pro 1 G2.0 water filtration system is a must-have for every modern, independently minded household. Protect your family's safety during an emergency. Go to InfoWarsStore.com today to purchase your ProPure Pro 1 G2.0 water filtration system or call 1-888-253-3139.
Welcome back to the InfoWars Nightly News. Our next story comes out of the Daily Mail, and it's a loving abortion story. You're going to love this one. New spa-like abortion clinic opens to destigmatize procedure with fluffy robes and tea on arrival. A new Washington, D.C. abortion clinic will have a spa-like feel with fluffy robes, natural wood floors, and tea on arrival in an attempt to help destigmatize the procedure. Carafem, which opens this week, has a no-frills attitude when it comes to informing people with what they provide. One of their advertisements read, "Abortion, yeah, we do that." Christopher Purdy, the clinic's president and founder, said he was inspired to start Carafem after working more than a decade promoting family planning and HIV prevention in developing countries. That's right. Once he got done with his eugenics operation over in Africa, he decided to come back and kill the little black babies in Washington, D.C., because that's what it's there for. And if you look at the statistics, more black children have been killed by abortion than have been born since abortion became legal with Roe versus Wade. Yet, they're putting a beautiful fluffy robe around it. Remember the video of the girl who was going in for her abortion and made it look like she was being all cool and trendy by doing it? Totally disgusting. But it doesn't stop there in D.C. In fact, in New York, it's getting even worse. Startling new abortion bill approved by the New York House. The New York State Assembly has recently decided this past week that shooting poisons into the heart of babies and pushing full-term abortions is in the best interest of women. That's right. The package of bills will allow women who are in their third trimester of pregnancy, 27 to 40 weeks along, to abort their babies in the womb through a procedure that involves shooting deadly poison through the unborn baby's heart to terminate them. The law would be changed to allow abortions to occur for any reason deemed relevant to the well-being of the patient, including physical, emotional, psychological, and familial factors, and the mother's age. So basically, any reason you can come up with, you can kill the baby up to the third trimester. Isn't that loving? Isn't that helpful? That's what we need, more abortions, not the fact that we've been drinking so much BPA in our water and we've basically killed the fertility of the people in this country, where these people, they don't realize they could actually go out and make money by delivering these babies full term and then putting them up for adoption to a loving family who would love to take care for a baby no matter what the race is. So I encourage you out there, if you are thinking about doing that deed at this time, that you do look into those alternatives, because there are hundreds of children that are being killed each day that need to be placed into homes, and that there are loving homes out there. So please consider doing that. And speaking of gross blood and guts, before we go into these cancer stories that I have, there's video that just came out. Bloodstains found atop Georgia guidestones was mysterious occult symbol used for ritualistic blood sacrifice. And that's right, a guy flying a drone over the Georgia guidestones, which incidentally I've been to and shot footage of. And he sees these, it looks like a blood stain with the blood actually dribbling off onto the support columns. Now, this particular Georgia Guidestones monument has been attacked in the past with paint and other things. You could see that in the video that I shot back a few years ago. But it just makes you wonder what is really going on. Now, they have security cameras placed over across the street pointing at the Guidestones. So if this was a blood sacrifice and the video shows nothing, well, maybe it's just like that Secret Service video. It gets recorded over every few days, so no video of any occult activities would exist. But it does look like something fairly recently happened, whether it's a bird flying in with its prey, which seems like a lot of blood for a prey animal or a prey bird to have brought up there, or it could have been red paint, although that definitely, to me, looks like blood. And there's a lot of interesting facts surrounding the Georgia Guidestones. They're profiled in-game, the blueprint for global enslavement. The top one is interesting. It says, "We will live in perfect harmony with the earth, and the population shall not exceed 500 million. That's worldwide population, 500 million. A lot of us are going to have to die for that to happen. Incidentally, everybody that I met while I was out there shooting the Guidestones footage was very anti-New World Order, which I think is a great sign. So earlier in the show, we looked at the myth that you have to have a college education and go into massive debt to be a successful person. We've also looked at the carbon myth and how more carbon dioxide is bad for the planet. And now I want to do this with my good friend here, Anthony Gucciardi, look at the cancer myth and that we can never, ever find this cure for cancer. And now there's this big PBS documentary, Cancer, the Emperor of All Maladies, produced by someone who I've actually respected in the work he's done. Ken Burns is executive producing this. But it really doesn't look at the causes of cancer. It only looks at the people who've fought around for these big pharma cures. Anthony, what's going on with this? Where are they going? Where are they missing out in the big picture on this documentary?
This documentary really reminds me of the Susan G. Komen Foundation. Remember the Buckets for the Cure?
Right.
They worked with KFC to create buckets of fried chicken for the cure. And if you actually,
I forgot about that one, but
yeah, exactly. They basically were raising money to treat cancer and research cancer and everything like that. But what they weren't telling you about were the real issues like BPA. Over 130 studies just on the relationship between BPA, bisphenol A, which is a plastic chemical in water bottles and other plastic items, between BPA and breast cancer, 130 different studies.
Wow.
And, you know, it's kind of like Angelina Jolie chopping off her breasts. Instead of telling young women about BPA or about, you know, GMOs or about any of the things that we constantly come in contact with, like high fructose corn syrup, which contains mercury, the list goes on and on and on. No one wants to talk about that because that's not sexy. It's much easier to say you have a gene and you're doomed and there's nothing you can do because that alleviates any actual action that we need to be taking.
But we're going to fight and spend millions of dollars on these treatments and give Big Pharma run of the mill to produce all these toxic treatments that may or may not help you. And that's what we're going to be concerned with. We're not going to ever be concerned with the cause. And that's what this documentary focuses on. It focuses on all these scientists who've worked for years and have created toxic cocktails to put into kids. And now we've really worked on childhood cancer. We can actually treat it now. But at what cost? I mean, some of these treatments, they admit, even cause brain damage to these poor kids. But nobody's ever looking at the causes of cancer.
Well, it might kill the cancer, but it'll also kill you. It's really a fight to survive the treatment more so than the fight to survive the cancer at many levels. But we could also look at, no one draws the parallels between these concoctions that they're making that they admit is toxic in this documentary, which has some good points, really, and things like Prozac. Because, you know, in the 80s, they knew when they ran the test that Prozac was actually leading to suicide, horrible things like maybe crashing a plane into a mountain, for example. Of course, I'm talking about the fact that the co-pilot was on antidepressants at that recent flight crash on purpose, where he did it with some type of motive. But no one talks about that. And Harvard researchers came out and said that actually, yes, Prozac was causing suicide and that the public was being treated like guinea pigs. That was from 2004 on BBC. It was a professor, actually, and he was speaking out against it. Now, the cancer industry obviously is on the same parallel with Eli Lilly and company who made Prozac. They're making millions and millions, if not billions of dollars on all of this while we're sitting there. And the best part is they're disabling our ability to do anything when they say it is our genes, just as you talked about.
Right.
Because if I were to tell you that you can prevent cancer, and it is genetic at some levels to a very small degree, but it's actually environmental factors that trigger those genes.
What triggers the genes, yeah,
yes.
Exactly.
then you would actually have responsibility to do something about it. You could not go out and eat garbage and eat McDonald's and, you know, drink water bottles full of BPA, or you might actually get breast cancer.
Or drink Mountain Dew or some other soft drink over and over
But it's
again.
a lot easier if, as a big pharma representative, I come out and say, the fight for cancer is so hard. It's genetic. We're researching it. Give us the money. It's actually easier for people to give money and donate money and buy into this than to actually take control of their lives. So that's why people just like dislike very much so in many ways. And there's angry comments on videos like this, as much as there is good comments, more so, obviously good comments. But there's that 10% that are just diehard against this because it actually means that they have to take control of their life, which is very hard.
They can't just put on
hard.
a pink ribbon and go, I'm helping. I'm making a difference.
They can't buy just buy KFC. Yeah. And, you know, it also, in terms of solutions, so we're not just sitting here attacking the cancer industry, which also has no solutions. I would encourage everyone to look up research on things like turmeric and iodine or whatever, but mainly let's talk about turmeric for a second. And just as this is going by memory, I believe that 98% of the cancer cells that they actually went up against in turmeric, the brain tumor shrunk. I mean, everything was actually drastically resolving in mice. And then olive oil, that's actually the most impressive one recently. They put olive oil in a petri dish with cancer cells, and in less than 1 hour, the cancer cells were killed by the olive oil compound. And we've known for a really long time that the olive oil compound is very powerful. But when they put it in a petri dish, it killed the cancer cells. So shouldn't that be in the documentary?
Right. No, they want to focus on these scientists who sit in labs, and it all looks real sexy. You know, they're putting things in vials and spinning stuff around in centrifuges, and they're really working really hard to spend all that money that we've given them for cancer research. Was it Nixon declared a war on cancer in 1971? Where are we now? 500,000 a year die. It costs 50,000 at least per treatment. So you estimate the millions of people that get cancer each year, they're diagnosed, 50,000 per head. I mean, that's billions and billions of dollars going in to fund this, plus the research on top of it. Do they really want a cure? I don't think they do. I think they want a treatment. I think they'll cure maybe 10, 15% or get people in remission. Those are the lucky ones. But those who aren't, they're just being put in this mill, housing, paying for all this insane amount of poisons and toxins that they want to put in the body. I mean, describe, what is chemotherapy like for people who don't know?
Well, you know, let's talk about chemotherapy for a second. To give you a good example, one of the studies is that turmeric and iodine block chemotherapy from working.
Oh my God.
Right? So
it'd be horrible.
So you have a nutrient that everyone knows. Turmeric is beyond a superfood, right? It does so many things to your body. If you're taking something that's super healthful and amazing for you and it's blocking chemotherapy, what does that tell you?
Yeah,
right.
Chemotherapy is not good for you.
Exactly. But the documentary admits that. It admits that it's extremely toxic. They're basically just saying, which is the saddest part about this documentary and everyone who watches it, yes, we have no idea what to do, so we actually have to basically kill you.
Right.
And they admit it will probably kill you if your body can't handle it. And that's why, 10, 15%, like you were saying, do actually fully recover pretty quickly from all this because they have a really powerful immune system and their body can rebuild at a cellular level really well and everything. But they are actually poisoning your body to the level that the cancer cells are dying to.
Right,
It's like you have, some type of toxic stuff in your hands, like a bunch of oil barrels, on old oil barrels, and you jump in the fire too.
Yeah.
It's burning everything so that the cancer cells die.
We found black mold in your bathroom. We're going to burn down the house and see if that gets rid of the black mold.
Exactly.
And if that gets rid of the black mold, then you're cured.
Right.
That's the mentality of it. It's burning down the house instead of how do we prevent it? And then are there natural ways that we could treat this that aren't? Because cancer's been around. It's not, but it's never been around in these levels. And we've never seen it at this level now. And it is epidemic. And I mean, it is the emperor of all maladies, as they call it. But what they want to do is divert you with this sideshow, this really well-produced sideshow with millions and millions of dollars and billions of dollars going into this. And with no real results, no real measurable results that we can all depend on. And what would you suggest for people to read and learn more about what they could do if they do find themselves with cancer? I mean, how they could help themselves before they even go to a doctor and get scared into all these toxic treatments.
This is such an old medical system documentary. And I know that because I know many actual MDs that would recommend the same thing I'm about to recommend. And it's to go to the National Library of Medicine and type in, preventing cancer, or type in some of the herbs and everything that you've heard about, like olive oil, turmeric, iodine, you name it, ginger, garlic has sulfur compounds in there that absolutely devastate cancer. There's so much. And this is PubMed. Okay? PubMed is the